Recording is on.
So the next, what we want to do now, we call it collect requirement process. We are learning this course and we are doing in a using a process to learn it. At the end of the day, we now bring them together to apply them. As a project manager and your team, the what is more important for you to do before you start your project, when you are planning your project, is to first collect requirement from the end user concerning the project you want to manage or the solution you want to provide. So if that the case, we are looking at the collect requirement process. So these are the process you can use to collect requirements. For example, you can use expert judgment. For example, if in area of your project that you are not familiar with or you don't have knowledge about how to collect the requirement, you can use somebody like an expert or get their opinion to help you to collect requirement so that you can understand exactly what customer need from the solution you want to create in your project. It also means that you need to have, because you are going to collect requirement from human being, stakeholder, end user, customer, service providers, service user, service subscriber. Service subscriber. So because they are human being, you need to have interpersonal and team skill. And those interpersonal and team skill that can allow you to collect requirement from there are called observation. Sometimes you can collect requirements from the stakeholder. For example, if you are creating a new technology and the stakeholder or the end user of a new technology you want to create, they are using the present technology, and you are observing the way they are doing it. You understand the inconvenience it's giving unto them, or maybe the machine they are using, they are not finding very comfortable to use it to do their tasks. So you know exactly where the problem is, so that when you are building a new one for them, then you can now factor in all those inconveniences. You can now solve that problem. You can now put the solution into that new one you are building by observing the way they are doing the work or the way they are using the machine to do their work. So that's observation. I can observe what you are doing, the correct machine that you are using, and I want to build a new one for you. So all those things that will not allow you to do the work using the machine now, I will note them, and I will now factor in a new machine so that when I develop that one, it will be suitable for the work you are doing or the task you are doing. You can also collect requirement from group of people through facilitation, through meeting. You facilitate. That's what they call interpersonal skill. Those are the skill or nominal group techniques. You are going to bring a group of people together, maybe to listen to them. You want to gather requirement from them. You are going to listen to them. By listening to them, you get a feedback from them. What they want in the solution? What do they want from the product you are going to produce or deliverable? How do they want it? What do they want it? What are the feature and function or functionality they need to do? That is a nominal group techniques. That a group of people, you bring them together, solicit a requirement from them, understand it better from their own point of view, so that we now use that requirement to solve their problem, to deliver, to create that product for them. Then we can also use data gathering. When we say data gathering, it's another way of saying that I want to collect information from end user of my of the solution I want to create. So data can be information, it can be data, it can be facts, or you can call it requirement. So what are the data gathering methods? Look at this. Brainstorming method. Brainstorming is the act of making discussion within a group, whereby everybody will now bring their own opinion. So it could be also be argument, or everybody want to understand each other point of view, because you have a lot of stakeholder. You want to gather a comment from them, and everybody is now making suggestion. Through brainstorming, you can understand their mind. Then through the brainstorming, everybody can work toward a common goal. Then you have a consensus opinion, or you reach a consensus point whereby you can now gather the right requirement that can fit for all the stakeholder. It could also be interview. You can meet one of these a stakeholder or end user or service subscriber. That is face to face, me one on one. I can interview you. okay, I'm building a solution for you, I'm creating a software for you in your department, or I am building a house, I'm building a road. It could be um, motorist. So you can hear from them what are the feature and function or functionality you want me to put in this solution for you. That is interview one on one. You do this one on one for the people you can see face to face. If it's a focus group, guys, a focus group, maybe you are building a solution. Solution has the technical the solution has technical aspect. It still has it has other aspect, but in the technical aspect you need to collect a technical information for those technical people who understand technical, who are the technical information. So you are focusing only on that particular group. Any other group that may use that solution, but that's what I mean, who doesn't have technical capability of that solution, you don't need to call those people. So the focus group, the people who will give you the relevant information, do you understand me, to deliver to create your product or to deliver or to create a solution are called focus group. Those are the people you can collect requirement from, because if you collect the requirement from other people it will not be useful to you. It's a just wasting of time. Questionnaire and survey, this is where you design a questionnaire. Questionnaire is a way of writing a lot of questions and give it into respondent. You are the question, you are the one who want to get information from them. You are going to write a list of questions pertaining to the project you are managing. So the questionnaire can be open-ended or closed-ended. What is most important that you want to gather information from them about what you are doing. Questionnaire is used for your stakeholder or end user of the solution you want to create, who are not in the same geographical area, who are far away from where you are. You can also conduct survey. You can do interview and conduct survey to get information from stakeholder. It could also be benchmarking. Benchmarking is about we are comparing standard against standard. You want to create a solution, you want to construct a new road, you want to construct a new house, you want to do a event management. These are type of project. But somebody else has done something like that before. The one that represents best practice, have standard than your own. So you need to go and compare what you are doing. Do you understand me? The way what they are doing against what are doing. So benchmark means that you are going to look at the best practice and you want to measure your own action against that best practice. Benchmarking. So the same thing when you are collecting data, you can benchmark. These people when they were doing their own, they collected the requirement and the requirement work well for them, and the project is able to thrive. Then I cannot follow the same pattern because that's what they did when they were collecting that requirement. It worked well for them. So I'm going to follow their pattern. I'm going to measure what I'm going to do against their pattern so that I can be able to be on the same standard with them. That's another way of gathering data. All the data you gather, requirement is not enough. By gathering requirement, it doesn't mean you have finished the process. It means that that information or data or requirement, you need to analyze it. That we call data analysis. Can you see? You can analyze the data of the present, the past record of the project that have been done. How did they gather requirements? So there are different methods here. Say document analysis. You can analyze the existing document and the previous document of the project that were done by a previous project manager and the team. You can look at alternative analysis. We have different kind of analysis that you can use different kind of document and analyze them. You can even use product analysis. If what you are producing are physical products, like a mobile phone, like a car, can you see? You can break down the old version. Maybe you want to create a new version of a car. Let's say a Toyota car. You have Toyota Camry. So there's the older one, the old version. You can break them down. You can look at the engine, the tire, the interior decoration. Look at the engine, the dashboard, the wiper, the lightning, the electrical part of it. Because you want to improve on that model, you can break that down. You can analyze. You can break down the engine, everything down to see what is missing, to see what additional thing you can add to the new version. That's what I mean. So that the new version will surpass the old version. There are some feature and function you need to add to the new version that make it to be more that car to be more efficient than, and effective than the previous one. That's another way you can analyze data. You analyze the existing one to know what you are going to put to add to the existing one to make it to be a new version, a new version of the car that can have newer vision, newer feature and functionality that can be make it easier for anybody riding the car to enjoy the car. Those are the what we are talking about. All this thing we are talking about is about your ability to gather information about the solution you want to create so that you can design that solution that can fit the need of the customer or the end user or the stakeholder. That's what we're trying to do here now. Then sometimes if you want to gather requirement, when you bring a group of people together, you may not be able to reach a compromise. It could be that you are going to do voting. Because everybody have a lot of suggestion. They say we should go it, you should use this feature and function. Other set of people, the stakeholder will say, use this feature and function. Other one will say, use the other feature and function. Put this functionality in the car or the project you are doing. You don't even know what to go. You can now say, let's vote. If do you know when we're saying voting, now say let's vote. If I say, okay, you want me to put in the dashboard of the car, you want me to put all those information. If the vehicle is hitting, it should show there. If I'm revising, I should be able to see my back. I can play music from here. I can do a lot of things from the dashboard. I can see everything. I can, if they will say vote, the percentage of the people who voted maybe is out of the 10 or the stakeholder or more than that, you can say okay, out of the 10 or 20 or 30 stakeholder, the people who say we should put all those features that in the dashboard that can see everything outside the car, inside the car, even something that dey happen in your house. You say that maybe the percentage is about 7 out of 10. You are going to take that. That's the voting method. So you take the highest number of the stakeholder who vote. That is mean that that is popular. So you take that. That requirement is what you are going to use to build that solution. It could also be a multi-criteria decision analysis. You are going to use different criteria to determine whether you are going to pick one requirement over other one. So you use you have a tick. Oh, this car should have a automatic maybe steering. You take it. They say the car should have maybe ability to have AI feature. You tick it. Or the car should be able to have maybe a, driverless what they call it driverless car. You don't know a car that whereby it is controlled by AI, whereby you can the car can drive himself. Or if you reach a particular point where you need to stop, if there are going to be a collision, it can stop automatically. So you have all the different versions. The one so you will be ticking. If the ticking, as you are taking it, the one that meet that criteria, you are going to consider. Those are the decision making. You are making decision about whether to pick one some requirement over the other one. So the criteria you are going to use to decide whether this requirement I'm going to tick is that those requirement meet with this criteria, you pick that. Then it's not enough for you to say, okay, you are making decision. Part of the way you can collect requirement is that you can also display the all this data you have gathered or requirement you have gathered. You can put them in form of a diagram so that everybody can see what you want to do. You know, if you put it in a chart, we say that a chart is a graphical representation of value. So you can graphically represent it to all the stakeholders who are available in the meeting or in a setting or in a team so that you can represent it to them well. They can understand it very well because diagram can help you to display information that are hidden in many texts. When you are writing a lot of text, you are writing a lot of maybe report. When you put it to diagram, everybody can understand exactly what you mean. So you can use different kind of diagram. These are the like mind mapping, affinity diagram, context or use case diagram, called use case. For example, now if I want to build a maybe ATM machine, like a use case, I will want to first describe it for everybody to see the object, and somebody that interacts with that object. How does the ATM work with him? If I slot in my card, how will he ask me some valuable information about my profile? How much am I going to collect? That's what I mean. You want to show me my balance. You want to show me that I cannot collect money more than my balance. All those are like a use case. If I want to build a house now, I will first show the owner of the house I'm managing the project for. I first show him the maybe a prototype of the house. Prototype simply mean what? Just like a architectural design of that house. Through that, I can know exactly what he wants. If I show him a small scale of the original building in making, without going to detail, he can see, this is how the front elevation will look like. This is how the interior decoration will look like. This is how the kitchen will look like. This is how the living bedroom will look like. This is how the veranda will look like. This is how the terraces will look like. Then the person will know. If it's not what you want, you can make the correction. Instead of you haven't gone far now, then after you have built the house, you want to make correction. No. The prototype will allow the person to see what you really want to do originally in the real project. So these are the way you can collect requirement. So that everybody, both the developer, both the development team and the stakeholder, they can be on the same page and understand what the project involved and what they are expected to see at the end of the project. That's the purpose of the collect requirement. So if I understand I understand, you understand, I understand the project from the user point of view. The user also understand it from my own developer point of view. Then we can come to compromise. I can be able to build a solution that can fit your purpose, fit for purpose or fit for need. That's what we are doing here. Then, for the sake of exam now want to show us the scope planning, how to collect requirement. You know, we are talking about interview, questionnaire, observation, focus group, facilitated workshop. They have characteristic and advantage and advantages. The exam we want to ask you, they can paint a picture to you. They want to know whether the collect requirement process here is interview or questionnaire, observation or focus group or facilitated workshop, and the disadvantages and advantage of each one of them. See, let's look at the characteristics of the interview. Interview mean that you can only use interview method of requirement collection when the stakeholder, you can see the person face to face. You understand me? But when you use questionnaire, it can be written like a set of questions to interview the owner of the solution or the stakeholder. This one is mostly used for a large group when your stakeholder, they are not in the same geographical area or there are so many. You can now send a stakeholder. You can now send a questionnaire to them. They can fill it. It can be online questionnaire. It can be that you can send it through post or through email, so that they can fill it. They can now give you feedback. Observation. That is where the solution you want to build, there's a previous version and you want to improve on that version. So you watch the way the person is using the version of the solution you want to create. Maybe it's a machine. You can see the way the person is using it, the difficulty the person is passing through. So when you want to build a new machine to do the work, to do the work of that person, so you can now factor in all those inconveniences the person is passing through. Then you can factor that in the new one, so that when you create a new one, you can overcome those challenges for that user of that machine. Then when you say a focus group, you are focusing on just a selected group of stakeholders. It could be the stakeholder and the stakeholder who have technical information about the project. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. You hear me, everyone? Oh, thank you. This is cool. Yeah. God bless. So you are talking about focus group. You are focusing on maybe a selected what do you call it? Selected stakeholder or user. They have some information that not all every stakeholder has. So those group, are called focus. You focus your attention on the stakeholder who will give you a particular or a specific information that you will need to create the solution. That's what they call focus group. Not everybody. You are not going to bring everybody into meeting. You can bring a subject matter expert, a technical subject matter expert, administrative subject matter expert, depending upon the kind of project you are doing, or financial subject matter expert. If you are building a solution that help you to solve a financial solution, you not go and bring people who don't understand solution, accounting solution, or financial solution, or banking solution. So the people who understand that terrain, they are the focal group you are going to focus on, and they will be able to give you a qualitative data, right information that fit into the project you are doing. Then if it's a facilitated workshop, it means that it's a section organized by a project manager to determine requirements and enable stakeholder agreement on project outcome. This one, you have a large group of stakeholders, very many of them. You can bring them to maybe like Sheraton Hotel. You have a meeting with them, have a facilitated section. So you bring them together, they will be discussing, you'll be asking questions. So as they are writing the question, somebody will be helping you to document the question and outcome. Oh, in this solution, this is the feature and function we want. You make sure that everybody agree, we come to a common understanding. So by the time they finish the meeting, all the requirement, all the question, all their desire, you now package it. So when you are now designing the solution, you factor that in. So, but each one of them has disadvantages and advantages. He said for interview, handle sensitive confidential information. That's why I want to speak to you face to face. I don't want to write any report that can implicate. So this one, when you are trying to handle sensitive and confidential information, you use interview. Help identify stakeholder requirement, goal, or expectation. You use interview. Then when you are using questionnaire, it's very quick turnaround. You can see because you are going to send it to a large group of people. Effective with what? Varied and geographically dispersed respondent. That means your respondent of that questionnaire, your stakeholder who are geographically scattered, that's what I mean, who are not in the same geographical area, you can cater for their needs. Then it yields quantifiable data for statistical analysis. Because when you get the questionnaire, you still need to analyze it and use statistical method to arrive at the solution on how to build the solution for them. Then if it's observation, team can understand where changes might be beneficial to the user of the solution you want to create. Then if it is focus group, is what? Pre-selected, not everybody. If the project you are trying to you are managing, or the solution you want to create, or the deliverable you want to create, you need technical information about aspect of that project. You only talk to gather information for the people who have the technical knowledge of that area. That's why you are going to select those areas. Not everybody is pre-selected participant for varied opinion. It could also be a small group for focused approach and gathering specific information. It could be technical information. It could be financial information. It could be risk information. It could be budgetary information. That's for that. If it's a facilitated workshop, the advantage, team can capture requirement. Yes, from very a lot of stakeholder, whether you have technical knowledge, you don't have technical knowledge, all of them together, you can gather requirement from them. Stakeholder can understand the concern and requirement of others, because there are many. They understand your technical part of the project, they understand. Non-technical part of the project, they understand. So each one of them also have downside. For the first one, your interview, it capture only a single point of view because you are dealing with one-on-one. But this one, disadvantage is that time consuming. When you are designing a questionnaire, before you design it, before you perfect it, before you send to the end user to give you a feedback, it's going to be a long time. Sometimes the respondents may not even give you accurate results. How do you confirm that? Can you see? Even if you want to confirm it, it's going to take a longer time. Time consuming. Answer, data quality depends on the question quality. Because if you don't know how to ask the right question, you'll not be able to get a right feedback from the respondent. That the you seem to confirm and confirm and confirm. If the question you ask is wrong, they will give you the wrong answer. So if you look at under the observation, there's no downside here much. For the focus group, pre, must pre-qualify stakeholder. If you don't pack all the stakeholder there, you get a wrong result. Bring the people who are mostly concerned in that area you want to solve, yeah, you want to use in your project to produce something. You will need one. SME and facilitation are essential. When you say SME, subject matter expert. If you don't get that subject matter expert, it will not be easier for you to use this method. And are essential. In this one, facilitation is essential. You are going to spend a lot of money. If I want to bring all the stakeholders that my project will affect, I want to take them to charity. All the logistic, all the preparation, all the things we are going to do there, and location, feeding, entertainment, and bring them together, it will also cost you. Those are the to get that information from there. So that's for that one. Because of time, I'm just trying to summarize it for you. Then data gathering, you can use benchmark to generate product requirement. It requires best practice to make comparison. You know, benchmark, you compare. So benchmark can like to compare what you are doing with what other people are doing. There's a best practice. The logical thing is that you want to follow the best practice for improvement. So don't forget that you are still talking about requirement, because without requirement or without proper requirement gathering, you cannot be able to provide solution to the end user or the stakeholder. There will be misalignment. It evaluates and compare an organization or project practice with other. You see what other projects are doing better when it comes to gathering requirements, so that you can now follow that better way. Then you can improve on your data gathering or information gathering or requirement gathering, and that one will enrich your project for you to be able to produce a product or deliverable that have value. Customers are looking for value, stakeholders are looking for value, organizations are looking for value. That means you can be able to create a project that has value, that can deliver value to the organization. Identify best practice in order to meet or exceed them. So that's for that one. When you are using benchmark, it's another method. Then after you have gathered requirement, the requirement may be so many, may be so large, you don't even know which one is more important, the most important you are going to use first. Not all the requirements you gather from end user when you are managing your project, when you are creating solution in your project, when you are creating deliverable. Not all the requirement may be many more than thousands. How do you know the one that's going to be very useful for the project? How do you know the one you are going to do first? How do you know the requirement you are going to use second, and maybe at the second stage of the project? So that's why we are talking about requirement prioritization. So there are different types of tools you can use to prioritize requirement, so that you know which one is more important that you want to use first. What is important? Which requirement is important and which requirement is urgent? That is the first prioritization. So what are the tools? So the PMI give us different kind of tools to help us to prioritize requirement. One of them is what? Moscow analysis. It's developed by Diclerc. So this Moscow is just like a acronym. M here stand for what? He say the description of this Moscow is this: used to reach common understanding with stakeholder on the importance of each requirement. More M here mean this solution I'm building must have this requirement. That is what you do first. This car I am trying to build, I want to build. I want to build a car. I want to manufacture a car. It must have automatic brake. I don't know much about car anyway. I drive it. I don't know much about car. It must have a engine that can help it to manage fuel, or it must be a car whereby it not emits dangerous gas into the environment. That is what more important. That's must. Secondly, after the must, what do you go for next? We're talking about requirement. It should. S stand for should. You have to take care of must first before you say should. You say it should. Then C mean it could, or will not even have all this requirement at all. So that's the example. So if you see something like this in exam, it's a technique or tool you can use to what to prioritize requirement, to know what is more important you need to do in your project to produce deliverable. What should come next? After you have considered this must have, then the next future I need to consider it should have. If I don't have must have, then I will start with should have, could have, or most of the requirement I gather. I don't even need all this requirement because I don't need to do anything in my project. You can see. So what are the benefits? It helps you to compare several portions of view. Use with time boxing to focus on the most important requirement that you need to use to create the solution of your project. It is commonly used in agile software development. This software must be able to help you to calculate the salary of the worker or the employee, so that at the end of the day I can be able to remit their tax to the government. That's how me. That's how you talk about it. That's what's important. He say when the account manager is using this software, or maybe salary software or whatever you call the software, he say this salary should be able to help me to calculate the salary of the employee, then help me to be able to calculate their maybe gross income and the what do you call it, gross income and the what do you call it, net income. Then I should be able to remove all the loan they have collected. You understand me? All the deduction, like a loan. I can take the loan from what they have gotten to get net value. Then I can also use it to calculate their taxes. I can remit that tax to the government. That's the most important fact. That's must have. Maybe you can ask, okay, after that, should have. Okay, should have can also be like, I can be able to send report. They are going to send the pay slip to all our employee after I've done the deduction and pay their salary. Or you should be able to help them to pay their salary into their bank account. All these things are in that order. You can also use a Canon model. This one is used when you are producing a physical product. Product management technique developed by Noria Kano is the person who developed it. How do you do this one? You see, we normally see all this one in, for example, in the social media platform. You see, because you want to prioritize requirement. You want to know the one you are going to use first that can be very beneficial, that is needed mostly by the stakeholder. How do you know the one you are going to use first? You say you understand and classify all potential customer requirements or feature into four categories: delighter, satisfier, dissatisfier, indifferent. If you look at social media, when they say you should like, you see some small object. One will be smiling, one will be the face will look like somebody that is crying, somebody that is happy, somebody that is not happy. I don't know whether you are observing, even in the Facebook or in the WhatsApp, and you see a picture. Somebody is crying, somebody is laughing, somebody is happy, somebody is dull, somebody is depressed. So the same way, what you are doing here now, that's a canon model. If the stakeholder give you a sign, delighter or exciter, somebody is happy, it's okay. This future will be the first. Satisfier will come after, followed by dissatisfier, followed by indifferent. If they give you that sign, they give it to you that sign that, oh, thumb down or thumb up, or the face is looking like somebody is crying. Oh, that means that feature is not needed. It's not very compulsory. But when somebody is delighted, they now show you a picture of delight, somebody that is excited. You can know from the face of the person who is delighted. You cannot give you that sign. This one is needed first, followed by satisfier, followed by dissatisfier, followed by indifferent. I don't care whether the feature is there or not there, or dissatisfier. I don't want the feature to be there. So you will do the latter first. When you see that the stakeholder in the meeting give you that sign, first before you satisfy, before before the dissatisfier and before indifferent. So benefit. Development effort can then be prioritized by the things that most influence customer satisfaction. When customer is satisfied with your product, they will show a sign they are delighted and they are loyal to you. You understand me? So that's why you use this sign. It's commonly used in maybe in the Facebook and other social media platform to show the how customer is satisfied or how you satisfied with what somebody commented or what somebody wrote as on the. So that's another way you can use to prioritize requirement. So those one you prioritize are the one you are going to use first. Another one is called peer comparison analysis. This one rates and rank alternatives by comparing one against another. I want to compare one requirement against another requirement. So the other requirement, if it has higher point, higher quality, I will not take the one that has higher quality. We can add a quality to my product work. Good for small range of subjective requirement. It's subjective, it depends on the people who is doing the project and the people who are giving you the requirement. So the other one is called 10 point method. Another name you can call is what? Fixed sum or fixed allocation method. It's developed by the Dean Levwell and Don Wigel. What is the one talking about? It's about voting method. All the stakeholder you gather together when you are doing facilitation or in a meeting setting, you now give them something like look like a money. You give all of them 100 points like a card. Dat card we have a number 1, 2, 3 up to 100. Each one of them like a card we normally play, those joker that has queen and king and something. So you put number there. Even so what you do, they will use that number to vote. Say the number range from 1 to 100. So now, if you now say, okay, I want to create this solution. I want this phone to have screen. The screen should be able to light up when I'm using it. Or the screen should be very rugged. Or the telephone should be the weight should not be it should not be too heavy. So if now say, okay, let's vote. You want the phone so that it will not be too heavy, or you want it to be very rugged. When it fall down, it cannot easily damage. So you now, out of the 100 points I give to each one of the stakeholder who are available. If most of them now say they now use 80 point, 80 point, 80 point, that means they love that future. But if they give you 5 points, another give you 5 points, another give you 7 points. If you look at the ratio of 7 point to 100 point, that means that feature is not useful. They don't like it. That's what I mean by 100 point. You vote for importance requirement in a list. Shareholder distribute 100 points in any way they wish, like monopoly money method. So if you know that this future can be very relevant in this work of this project, that means the higher point you raise up, and we count it that the people that raise up 80 point, they are many, we consider their own. That's what they want. The majority want. So good, you say the benefit is good for any size group, even large ones. Give priority to stakeholder decision making because they are making decision. If all the stakeholder they are giving me 90 point, 90 point, 90 point, that means that's what they want. That's their decision. So you now go by their decision because they must exercise depth of thought before you can use it. That's for that. So that's for requirement prioritization. We look at the how to collect requirement, how do you prioritize requirement? We have looked at that. Then how do you present information? You know that when you say data representation, you can use graph, you can use chart to present the information. What's the purpose of using chart and graph or graphical representation of value? You want to make everything about the requirement or the requirement you want to use. Maybe let it be clear to everybody that are the group or the stakeholder. Because you can bring them to a meeting, facilitate them. Those data, you now show them in form of a graph. Graph cannot lie. you can use it to compare. You can see the trend in the of the data. You can compare one value to another value. That's what I mean. You can look at the trend of the value. You can see the general picture of the whole requirement so that the end user, the stakeholder can see it better. They can now come to common understanding. Your own in exam, just to know that we have a data representation, we have a data mind mapping or affinity diagram. This one consolidate idea created through individual brainstorming. After they are brainstorm, any data from the brainstorming you plot it so that you can see. So if you have a data that has a larger block or column, you know that is the one that is common. That's the average. So that's what you're going to go by. You say you consolidate idea created through individual brainstorming section into a single map to reflect the word. What is common? What's the requirement that is common among all the stakeholders? What is the requirement that is different from other stakeholder to another stakeholder in the understanding and to generate a new idea? From here, you can get a new idea. But by so doing, the stakeholder can come to common understanding. Then they can now say, okay, this is what we want. Affinity dragon allow large number of idea, have big idea to be classified for a review and analysis. This one, affinity dragon, dey help you to put your information in form of a chart so that the stakeholder can those information can be classified and the stakeholder can review it and you can analyze it. They can come to a conclusion. We call it affinity dragon. Context dragon, you can see, is another type of affinity dragon. You can see university, you want to build a university, you want to build an institution called university. What are the associated maybe factors that will help you to be able to build a university? You say university, if you look at it dragon, it makes sense to me when I look at it. University, to build it, sometimes if it's a public university, you understand me, you need the government funding. You request for funding, can see me. Then if a university also, you also need request for funding, you can understand me. If it's a this university should be able to conduct researches that can help the industry. You understand? Because most of the universities in Nigeria, if you look at it, some of our professors, they don't even conduct research. So the outcome of the research can be used by the industry because in an advanced country, they depends on the research conducted by the university. So can I say educational service to the industry?